Wow, did I very nearly get myself into really deep hot water with my wife during this latest uncharacteristic heatwave? And I got into almost as much trouble in a flurry of comments in response to my video suggesting that you precondition your cabin not from the expensive mains while plugged in, but from the battery full of cheap off-peak electricity you loaded overnight. The reason should surprise you. My Tesla Model S is approaching 8 years old and still going really strong. Although it's old in technology terms, I bet there are very few of you using an 8-year-old computer or an 8-year-old smartphone, I am discovering that it is still really advanced, not only in that model's technology compared to today's, but also well ahead in features. What was installed as standard even in the basic model in the range between 2014 and 2017. I didn't know some of this when I bought it, but I really am learning new things, even today, that I never appreciated. I've always hated sitting in the car waiting for it to charge. What a waste of time. You need to see my road trip video list listed below, showing you how never to have to wait for it to charge. As a general rule, I'll set the charge limit I need, plug it in, then wander off to the toilet and to pick up a cold drink. I'm not a huge fan of sitting alone and drinking in a crowded service station, so often I'll go for a wander round to stretch my legs and back, check the app for state of charge and head back to the car with a couple of minutes to spare. I can happily sit in my car, comfortable, air conditioning on, reading my Kindle, catching up on emails or playing games on the main display for the last 2 or 3 minutes. I was surprised to learn that the BMW iX40 when it was launched was road tested by a successful EV YouTuber called Bjorn Nyland. You need to check out his channel, it's really interesting. He was doing a road trip review in it during the summer months in Norway, and it was hot. He stopped to charge, plugged in, and was horrified to learn that the BMW iX40 he was driving only had one air conditioning unit, and that when the car was charging, it switched automatically to keeping the battery temperature under control. Bjorn could not sit in the car in full sunshine while it charged because the single unit could not be used for cabin cooling while charging, and the car overheated. Well, something I'd always taken for granted, the ability to keep both the battery and the cabin cool while charging, was not a standard feature on every car, even on an expensive model like the BMW. Likewise, it seems, the ability to pre-cool your cabin in the summer and pre-warm and defrost it in the winter with your car unplugged, controlled from the app prior to getting in, is also not a standard feature. I find this really strange. All EVs have heaters and air conditioning, and all happily operate from the battery while driving. So surely it is just a software setting that either allows or prevents it from being available to use from the app when not driving and when not plugged in. Why would such a feature not be standard? If I stop for a break, the car is left outside in full sun while I relax inside, having visited the toilet and then sitting with a McFlurry and a cool drink. I'm happy to sit there when it's quiet. I hate it when it's crowded and noisy. It heats up rapidly. So before I leave, I use my mobile phone app to chill it down, and it's cool by the time I get back to the car. One correction is needed here. If you watch my video entitled I Messed Up, I really did mess up. I tested this feature recently. I unplugged the car, allowed it to get to 42 centigrade, then from my app, set the internal temperature to 19 centigrade and monitor the time taken and the power consumption. A link to that is down below. I later discovered that the grandkids had shut off the rear vents in the car, so the cooling on that test only used the front vents, and therefore the time it took is not accurate. As soon as the car gets back up to 42 centigrade, I'll rerun the test. I was shocked by how many comments flooded the channel stating their car cannot do this. Some could do it if it was plugged in, but still drawing power from the battery, while others said their car could only ever pre-cool or pre-warm directly off the mains, and a number stated that they simply couldn't do it at all. Their car could not operate the air conditioner to cool it down or defrost the windscreens and preheat to warm it up unless the car was plugged into the mains. Now that's a real downer for someone without home charging. I learned something important from this. Never assume that what I regard as a standard system on my old car is actually included in all brand new EVs. If you are affected, maybe ask your manufacturer to do an over-the-air update to correct this. If indeed they actually offer over-the-air updates at all, I must stop assuming. I still get 1 or 2 updates a month. Maybe let me know in the comments if you get them. Anyway, the same applied to keeping the car cool while you nip into the shop or the chippy or the post office on a really hot summer's day. Many comments said there was no way their cars could do this. The air conditioning shut down when the car locked. Well, that sucks. Others said they could leave it running for a short period, say 30 minutes. But this struck me as evil. If you leave your car for, say, 40 minutes on a really hot day, it will have used power for the last 30 minutes to cool it down, then stopped, and then the cabin would have reheated by the time you got back to it. What a waste of energy. But the full wrath of my wife was sorely tempted when we needed to nip into a shop for a few things on a scorcher of a day recently, and she got out the car. I have 3 easy ways to keep the car cool. One is to press keep, one is camp mode, the other is dog mode. In keep, the air conditioning stays on until I return or the battery drops below 20%. I normally use this one. Camp mode, designed for those who sleep in their cars overnight, does mainly the same thing with a few extras thrown in specifically for those sleeping in the car. Now, I don't have a dog, but dog mode does essentially the same as keep. It keeps the air conditioning on, but it also turns the main display into a huge picture of a dog, a temperature readout and a bold message stating, "My owner is due back shortly, but don't worry, the air conditioning's on and the internal temperature is 20 degrees centigrade. Yeah, you've guessed it. When my wife realised just how hot it was, she got back in the car and gave me a list of what was needed. As soon as I set off, it seems, I'd pressed dog mode by mistake, and she was left staring at the display stating, "My owner is due back shortly, but I'm okay and the temperature is 20 degrees centigrade. Yeah, I know it says driver. Well, it does now. It would appear that others may have also done the same as me, so a short while ago Tesla changed the message so it now reads, "My driver is back soon." I'm not sure she would have appreciated that subtle change. Thanks for watching. I'm Dave.